at the same time humble, because it has to do with self-critical approach, and more ambitious. I'm not only talking about Western Muslims and saying we have two worlds and to it. No, I want what I'm saying here to be able to say it there. So this is why I'm speaking about democracy and the rule of law. This is exactly what I want in Muslim majority countries. When I'm saying we have to stop in the name of Islam, I'm saying it here, but I went to Pakistan, I spoke with scholars in Morocco, the Mufti of Egypt was supporting what I was saying, and look, it works a bit. In the United States of America, where I was very much criticized for what I said, the Fiqh Council, which is the higher religious body in the United States of America, had decided last year to go for supporting a technical moratorium on death penalty, which is good for Americans. And I think that they understood the message after a critical discussion. So I would say that this is what I want. I'm not speaking about the schism. For me is something. This is why I don't want this, binary vision of the world as Western Muslims who are facing contemporary issues that I want to use to talk to Muslims in Muslim majority countries. Democratization, rule of law, democratization, freedom of expression. All this for me it's important. So I'm so it's ambitious in this by saying when talking as a Western Muslim about the religious reference, I'm able to go to Muslim majority countries and to challenge this by saying, look, what you are doing is against our religion. And this, because some of the Muslims had exactly the same impression, say, oh, this moratorium for death penalty is a European Muslim asking for this. This is the guy who was born in Switzerland. So they wanted to put me geographically there. Say, no. It's a Muslim talking to Muslims. It's a Muslim of today talking to what is done in the name of Islam today. So there is no, schism to be accepted here. And I would say that this is where we have to do this. The point is, when you say, I'm not saying that it should be done exclusively from within. It's not the only way, but it's a main way of dealing with religious discussion. But now, and this is what I'm saying as well, I'm Western and I live here. All the questions that I got from my fellow citizens are helping me in the critical discussion to come to a better understanding of my religion. And this is, I have no hesitation to say the fact that I was born and raised in the West helped me to get a better sense of my religion. It helped me. This critical dialogue is quite important, but not to be put under pressure. You have to justify, prove this, prove that, say this, say that. It's not going to work like that. A critical discussion is much more the way we have. You are more an exception, to tell you the truth, in some of the circles about this discussion than, we have very, very often people saying, you have to justify, tell me this. We have a list of questions. If we go through the list, you are a good or a bad. You know this. So it starts with women, headscarf, homosexuality, and you go through the list, and I can tell you, I'm waiting for the questions to come. Say, go ahead, I know the next one. And that's it. This is not a dialogue. This is a tribunal. This is a court where you have to justify, and the people are saying, no, I'm not going to go. You cannot get a sense of belonging when you are put in such a situation. And the last question about, which is a very important one, about respect. I was not saying this. I would say even that I'm ready for people to have the right to offend and even to insult if they want. The point for me is that there are laws when it comes to racism, and we agree on this. I'm not touching this, and I don't want more law. My point is not this. It's not to prevent the people from speaking. But I would say that in a society, when, for example, we all hear, why am I European? Because I have integrated into me, it's part of me now, something which is Euro sensitivity. It's legal to joke about the suffering of Jews. I would never do that. It's not because it's not legal, because we don't do that. It's not, I know the sensitivity. We don't do these things. So I would say it's legal, and you can insult, you can offend. The point for me is that let us have dialogue, to let the people know about our own sense, and then you do whatever you want. No more laws, no more, but dialogue. Let the people understand. Why, for example, when someone is coming to me and telling me, why is it so sensitive for you when we touch the Prophet? I can explain. Now we want to insult, go ahead. But let us, as fellow citizens, talk about our respective sensitivities, exactly like a couple. A man, a woman. They are together in love, the sense of belonging to the couple is just, let me tell you about my sensitivity, you tell me about it. You're not putting law, don't say this, don't say that. Go ahead. And sometimes it comes that when you know how to target her or him, you will target exactly what you know. It's sensitive. This is life. But I'm not saying this. My respect is based on do whatever or say whatever you want. No more, but let us say more about our respective sensitivities. I think it would help us to get a better understanding of one another. This is what I'm advocating. More communication on sensitivities, but no more law. And this is what I call as something which is going to shape a common respect in the society. Because when people, for example, let me just end with this, when people, for example, after what happened in the Danish cartoon, you had the Arab European Association organization in Belgium, and they are also here. They are saying, oh, this is what you talk about freedom of speech. Let us now insult, the Jewish suffering, and they came with cartoon as a response. And I was asked about this is silly. This is not the right answer. They don't get a sense of what Europe is. So it's not, you don't answer to a bad feeling by a bad attack and bad feeling. I think that if we had this communication, it would be better. And this is for me part of what I call loyalty and sense of belonging, which could help us without law to get a better sense of what matters for our fellow citizens.
A very short reaction, and then we turn the tables around, but maybe you have almost made all your points in command on Ian's first lecture already.
So why don't we just open it up?
Okay, you want to open it up and... Okay, I'll go. There is the microphone. Who wants to ask a question?
I would like to raise a question for Mr. Ramadan. It's about the two-way process you advocate almost as a prerequisite required in building the bridge between various groups of people. If I like to speak to another fundamental question, so I have to explain it first in all sentences. You advocate bringing part of the Islamic culture and tradition and let it settle down in, say, our country or other countries, and let it merge with the rural culture. That means society and the rural culture has to change in order to adopt this new element. If the natives who have lived here for years and years and generations don't like this and want to stop this, and really want to prevent this change, what would be your response to that? And I'm not saying, please don't give me the answer, society is always changing over decades. Of course, society will be changing, we know that. But it could be that some citizens, and I think it is an underlying question in society, not so much from my side, but I have heard this many times. Why should we accept this?
What do you do with people who don't want to communicate? To translate
No, it's not a question of no communication. It is a question of rejection of the proposal to build a bridge and accept new elements in our culture.
Okay, so two things, because you don't want me to say it's always changing. But I'm sorry to say it's always changing. And I have to say it. Why? Because these reactions, this is not new. This is not new. In history, we have people reject. I was, a young Swiss citizen. When we were playing football when I was young, nothing was said about an Egyptian playing football, but it was all about Italian, Spanish people colonizing Switzerland. And we have to protect. And people, they don't want to be with them. And then now, you go to Switzerland, and the Spanish names, the Italian names are Swiss. So, the question of time, it's important. Now we have